Women should be allowed to rise to the peak of their career in whatever field they find themselves. This was the major highlight of the lecture delivered by the Chairman CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Honorable Abike Dabiri Arewa, at the Nigerian Army War College, titled Gender Dimension in Leadership. Please stay tuned for more details. But that wouldn't be all. A workshop on capacity building for House of Representatives Committee on Diaspora Affairs was recently held in Abuja, titled Assessing the Intersection on Food and Agricultural Supply Chains, Labor Migration and Ethical Recruitment in Central and Western Africa. More details to come shortly. And on to the big news. The first black woman, and indeed Nigerian, has been elected as the president of Harvard. Big news, I must say. Please do stay tuned to your favorite program, The Diaspora, and I am Koinsola Adetumbi. There is need to monitor and support gender-related activities and use gender-segregated data in planning purposes, says NIDCOM's boss. Please take a listen.
We look at leadership. It's about incorporating, it's about the ability of an individual to guide. I'm seeing leadership here at the War College, leadership by our commandant, leadership by the director of studies, leadership by every one of you who is sitting in this hall. So it's about how you're able to achieve, to lead, to guide, and inspire. Now, I want to look at gender and the armed forces. And I know that it's a bit, like we see here, we don't have women in this course. And like you said, it's because they're just not here. But I hope, like you said, next year it won't be like that. But there are reasons that are very professional, and I'm sure we can't quarrel with that. So when we look at in the armed forces, before 2020, we didn't have any female officers that you sent to the battle, as they got limited roles, such as caterers, lawyers, nurses, and all that. But now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have female officers now deployed to platoons. I guess I'm right. Yes. And now the military now has a gender policy, and that is very instructive. Now the Armed Forces of Nigeria has a gender policy, and that's the way of supporting the federal government, which is also part of following the international instrument. So can we clap for the Nigerian Armed Forces for having a gender policy in place? Women should be allowed to rise to the very best of their careers, whether it's in armed forces, whether it's in television, whether it's in journalism. Just don't say you can't do this because you're a woman. So the challenge of being a woman is balancing both. How do I balance my career with my job as a mother, and sometimes as a wife, but most importantly as a mother? How do you balance that, those roles? It's difficult. We try. Sometimes we succeed, sometimes we fail. But we can't do it without you, our husbands, our partners, our brothers, our fathers. It's important that we monitor and support gender-sensitive reporting activities and the use of gender-segregated data in planning purposes, and I'm glad the military is doing that. It's important to establish and maintain contacts with women organizations, particularly in areas of operations, to support military outreach, local activities such as quick impact projects. It's also important to monitor implementation of guidance to promote a gender-sensitive working environment, both for male and your female military personnel at the tactical level. I think that is very important. As I encourage the Nigerian Armed Forces to look at the gender perspective to leadership, I urge you to support women, credible women, in whatever position they want to be, whether it's in leadership, whether it's in politics, whether it's in armed forces. Our women are capable, we're energetic, and we also believe that the future of Nigeria and in the African continent belongs to the Nigerian woman, the African woman, but we can't do it without your support. Thank you very much for inviting us. I will look forward to a very, very robust deliberations today on gender and leadership. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
We are very happy to have you in the college, and we thank you for making time to deliver this lecture personally. Well, I want to assure you that the Nigerian military, the armed forces, have continuously opened up space for more participation of female in our services. In 2011, I was privileged to be the Cadets Brigade Commander when we admitted the first set of about 20 female cadets to the Nigerian Defense Academy. And I can tell you that our female officers, they bring certain gender-specific skills that sometimes we do not find them in men. You know, they have been very valuable in acting as first responders to emergency situations for us. And because of the utility of our female officers and soldiers, the Nigerian Army created a special corps for them, the Nigerian Army Women's Corps. And we've seen them actively involved in election security duties, and more recently in providing security on the Abuja-Kaduna highway. And like you rightly mentioned, we also developed the gender policy for the armed forces. So we are making progress, and hopefully in another few years, those 20 female cadets of 2011 would have reached the rank of lieutenant colonel or colonel to sit as participants in this hall. So on this note, I would like to once again thank you very much for coming to the Army War College. On behalf of the Army War College, I'd like to present you.
We try to celebrate the best of Nigerians in the world, and we are proud of who we are in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
A well-delivered lecture. Kudos, ma'am, and kudos to the Nigerian Army War College. Honorable Abike Dabiri Arewa, Chairman CEO of the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, and Honorable Tolulokwe Akonde Shadipe, Chairman House of Representatives Committee on Diaspora Affairs, were at the capacity building retreat for House of Representatives Committee on Diaspora Affairs. Who is truly a diasporan, and synergy between diaspora and migration were on the front burner. Please watch.
This capacity building exercise is therefore critical in positioning members of the Committee on Diaspora to effectively pursue this objective. I would therefore like to urge my colleagues to pay rapt attention to the presentations in the course of this retreat, so that at the end of it all, we will be better informed and better equipped to achieve our mandates. Once again, I wish to express our appreciation to IOM for facilitating this retreat, and also assure them that the lessons learned at the end of this program will be effectively applied for the protection of Nigerians in diaspora. These people, who are they? They are value to the host country, so they are value to the host nations. They are value to the home nation. They are D-V-A-I, they're divine. When you think divine, you think divine. They're divine. They're double value adding individuals. And henceforth, we need to appreciate them, we need to support them from home, because with them, we can achieve a lot in our nation. Thank you.
Something we tackle within the Commission is who really is a diaspora. The official definition of a diaspora is somebody who is living legally. So, doctor, somebody who is living legally in the host country, has an address, pays tax, has a job. But when issues of trafficking, irregular migration comes in, we intervene with other agencies. Because when Nigerians are in trouble, you must come to their aid. But a diaspora is actually living legally, has a home, has an address, pays tax in that country. So, but people are saying a diaspora should be everybody, including irregular migrants, which came out from one of the conferences in Ekiti as defining that. So I think I want to appeal to this group to look at that, but we cannot encourage irregular migration. But how can we make it regular and managed so that they can be part of the official definition of diaspora? For instance, if diaspora voting starts, it's going to be for residents that are legal in those countries. That's what I'm saying. It's not going to be encouraging you to run to another country irregularly. So as we move on, I want you to flesh in and enlighten more on the definition of diaspora. Thank you very much.
It's important for policymakers, like these honorable members of the House, to understand what's happening in the diaspora and how their needs can be addressed. Because if the diaspora is connected with the country, they are more likely to invest back in the country. And investment, diaspora investment is very important. It's what we call heartstring investment. They are attached to the country. They are usually the first one in and the last one out, regardless. So attracting diaspora investment is the best way to go. As I said in my opening, the Nigerian diaspora set back $21 billion last year. There's space to do a lot more. And because what they sent back was remittances. And what we want the diaspora to send back is more investment. Capital investment, to invest in infrastructure, to invest in schools and hospitals. So this is why connecting with the diaspora, having NIDCOM part of here and having the committee on the diaspora is an important point. And as IOM, we want to facilitate such endeavors.
When you think about migration, you should see and hear. See your people who are abroad and hear the word diaspora. So basically, you can see that migration and diaspora are heavily interrelated. So the purpose of this retreat is to bring members to discuss current issues with regards to migration, gender issues with regards to, for example, human trafficking as it affects diasporans. And then this came up earlier on today, when you talk about diaspora, you talk about people who are legally resident in those nations. But so are you saying that your citizens that are not legally resident are less of your citizens? No. So those are the kind of issues we will talk about here today. How we can bring them, as much as illegal migration is wrong, but how we can protect them in spite of the fact that they're illegally in those nations. Some are there as a matter of choice, some are there because they were illegally trafficked, unknowingly, they're collaborators, but lack of knowledge, could lead to situations like that. So are we going to assume that because they did not legally migrate to those nations that they're relevant? No. So this retreat is to discuss the current day issues as it relates to migration and diaspora.
I'm here as a member of the Committee on Diaspora with expectation to have a deep understanding of the diaspora, the workings of the Diaspora Commission and all the activities that are part of it.
So what are your expectations?
Just to deepen our knowledge, that will also help us to improve our capacity to make laws that will benefit our people.
We're here attempting to have a better understanding, build synergy amongst ourselves and relevant organizations with regards to migrations, and see how we can harness the opportunities that abound within the area relative to our diaspora members to foster greater development, not just of the country, but that which will be beneficial to themselves and the host country and where they're migrating from. Build better synergy, have a clearer understanding, and have to chart a clear roadmap of what we can do as members of the committee to improving the status of our people in the diaspora, especially now that they have a commission that is responsible for their activities and their actions. We have also had the intent and the intentions that we can get to interact more with members of the diaspora. So if the retreat is able to build that synergy, is able to advance that purpose, definitely would have gained something coming back.
Meet the first black woman president of Harvard. The prestigious Harvard Law Review has elected its first woman president in its 130-year history. Ime Umana, 24, from Abak local government area in Akwa Ibom, Nigeria. She is a daughter of late Dr. Ime Samson Umana, a Nigerian immigrant. She grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She is a joint degree candidate at Harvard Law School and the Harvard Kennedy School of Government. Umana was chosen by the Harvard Law Review 92 student editors in what is widely considered the highest ranked position that a student can ever have at the cutthroat law school. She is the first African American woman to lead a journal that has the largest reach of any law journal in the world. The difficult election process required a thorough dissection of her work and application, and a 12-hour-long deliberation of her portfolio. The first black man to be elected president was Barack Obama 27 years ago, while it has been 41 years since the first woman, Susan Estrich, was elected. Congratulations, you are a worthy ambassador. And now let's join Boy Alinko.
Ha! Not so fast. Look, I'm tired. I want to check out of this country for greener pastures. Just calm down for a moment. Please sit down. Do you have a job where you're going to? No, but someone is arranging, Listen, Alinko. Checking out of this country without proper planning means one thing. Unimaginable begin. I've been in the diaspora, but legitimately doing great things at home and abroad. As I've been saying, without the proper footing abroad, the risk is not worth it. Listen, Alinko, it's better to be home than be trapped abroad, or even end up in prison.
Nigeria becomes the first African nation to beat the U.S. basketball men's national team with a 90-87 win. Nigeria's win came 9 years after the U.S. crushed the Nigerians 156-73 at the London Olympics. The loss drops Team USA's record to 57-3 in exhibition games held since 1992, when NBA players were first allowed to play in the Olympics. The team had not lost an exhibition game since 2019. A 98-94 upset by Australia ahead of the FIBA World Cup. Nigeria converted nearly half of its 40 to 3-point attempts against the Team USA. Ike Oregbu was played at Washington State, made a 3-pointer with just over a minute left and pushed Nigeria to an 88-80 lead. Durant responded with 7 straight points. The Miami Heat's Gabe Vincent, who scored a game-high 21 points, sank 2 free throws with 13.2 seconds left, helping cement the upset as Team USA failed to execute a play out of a timeout called in. And now we wrap up with our momatrician, Dr. Lulu, with suicide notes.
We're going to read from my book, A Teen's Life, from chapter 3. Chapter 3 actually talks about the numbers of suicide worldwide, and we're going to probably touch on Nigeria as well. So thank you so much for listening to me. I'm going to read, and as I read, I might stop and discuss. So it may not just be full-fledged reading, but I think this is going to be educational. All right, let's go. So, did you know that according to the WHO, more than 800 people die globally by suicide each year? 800,000. Did I say 800? 800,000 people. So nearly 1 million people. That roughly translates to 1 suicide every 40 seconds. Here's the problem though. As of 2020, the same WHO predicted that by the year 2020, it will be 1 suicide every 20 seconds. Now, this book was actually written in 2018. It came out in 2019, but it was written in 2018. So the numbers were as of 2018, but as of today, 2021, the WHO's prediction is 1 suicide every 20 seconds. As a matter of fact, in July of 2020, the last time we looked at the numbers, it was 1 suicide every 26.9 seconds. Here's the situation with that. Most suicides are still not reported. Suicides are still mostly underreported. So even at 1 every 20 seconds, you can look at in 5 minutes while I'm speaking, how many deaths could that be? This is so not good. Okay, so suicide claims more lives than malaria, breast cancer, war, and homicide. Of course, we talk about homicide because I live in the US and that's where kind of most of the numbers came from. But regardless, malaria, breast cancer, war, homicide. And of course, the current pandemic is coronavirus. It probably suffices to say that suicide might be competing with coronavirus. Here's why I said that. In the US, since 1999, suicide rates in adults have increased by 30%. I want you to listen to the next thing I'm going to say closely. In the year 2020 alone, suicides in youth, in children, has gone up by 70%. 70. So now, in the US at least, suicide is only second to accidents as a leading cause of death in children aged 10 through 34. If numbers are anything, that number is crazy. Here's the reason why it's crazy. It is second only to accidents. So that tells you that many of those accidents might be suicides. We don't know for sure. Could it be? You know why I said that? Because in my podcast, which is called Suicide Pages, I interview only people who have either looked suicide in the eye, suicide attempts, suicidal behavior, whatever. Majority of them will tell you that they wanted to make their suicides look like accidents. I am one of those people. The day I wanted to kill myself, I was going down a highway. I was going at over 85 miles an hour. The rooftop of my convertible was down. I had no seatbelt on. I was trying to drive off the highway. I wanted it to look like an accident, and I did not want to survive that accident. So when I tell you that statistic of suicide being second only to accidents is questionable, you know why. But I digress. Let's keep going. However, since many suicides still go underreported, mostly due to stigma, if you have any questions for me, kindly send an email to suicide notes with Dr. Dr. Lulu, L-U-L-U, @gmail.com. Again, my name is Dr. Lulu, aka the Malnutrition.
Thank you for staying all through the program. We hope it's been worth your while. And in case you have anything to share with us, please do not hesitate to do so, as we expect feedback on our show. Remember, you can reach us on all our social media platforms. On Facebook at Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, on Instagram at nidcom_gov, on our YouTube page at nidcom_gov, and on our website at www.nidcom.gov.ng. You can also join us on DSTV at NTA Network on Friday at 10:30 a.m., on NTA International on Tuesday at 6 a.m. and 10:05 p.m., on NTA News 24 on Friday at 2:30 p.m. and on Sunday at 10:30 a.m. You can also join us on WAP TV on Thursdays at 9 a.m. and on WTV on Wednesdays and Sundays at 8 a.m. And you can join us on Ben TV London at 4:30 p.m. on Saturday. I remain your host, Koinsola Adetumbi. See you next time.